war with any other country, and I certainly don't want to be at war with our citizens. So now you know I have a lecture that I can give a long answer. I'll try to keep it short. But I feel very strongly about the government, the federal government, allowing states and localities to make their own decisions. Yeah, so everybody knows that Social Security is in jeopardy. And when people ask me why I'm running for office, I say it's because government is too big, too fuzzy, too nosy, too intrusive. But the worst part is they usually end up hurting the very people they try to help. So Social Security, they thought, hey, let's help people have a secure retirement. And now we're all paying into a system that we know is broken. So the Social Security system, unlike Al Gore was talking about the lockbox, the money didn't go into a lockbox. It was spent to keep the government going. So what I would do is I would sell government assets such as downtown office buildings, mineral rights, oil rights, sell those, and use that money so they can be put in charge. And I would give an immediate opt out to anybody who wanted to. And I'm sure most people would take immediate opt out. By the way, that's very similar to the Cato 6.2% solution. And we also asked about Medicare, Medicaid. So again, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
They can't hear you.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'll come a little closer. The other question was about Medicare and Medicaid. And I'm sorry, since he asked me two questions, basically I'm going to answer two questions. So the problem with health insurance is that it's not insurance at all. In any other industry, it's there for unexpected costs, and so it remains relatively low. And if you look at car insurance, what do you pay for gas, oil, and car washes? You had absolutely no reason to shop around for best prices. And the gas stations wouldn't have any reason to be out of price because you can simply go to any gas station around it, even the nice one that gave you free coffee, pay your little $5 copay card, and then be off and running. They could raise prices to the insurance companies, they could raise your premiums, and then you're in the cycle. So what I would do to get the ball rolling with competition in healthcare is I would do something like the state of Indiana, in which I would put dollars into the pockets of not only people on Medicare and Medicaid, but also our veterans, because our veterans need to be treated better than they are, and let them get the ball rolling with competition. So
Oregon. We're in a time now where immigration policy is very far-sighted on both sides. The left thinks that it's bad for the dreamers coming here. The right thinks it's good because we're protecting against child sex trafficking, things like that. What would your stance on immigration be, man?
wait, did you kind of go from immigration to sex trafficking?
Well, because I bring that up because thing on the right, a common theme on the right is we need strong borders to protect against child sex trafficking. However, the left would say we don't need strong borders. Whoever wants to come in can come in as they please.
Well, I would suggest we've got pretty strong borders now, and we have way too many sex traffickers. So once again, government can't get it done, and in fact, I think private individuals can do it much better than the government. But looking at the border again, I said I was the grandchild of immigrants. I want to have open borders similar to how we had in our country before the 1920s. My grandparents came over the teens, and bringing immigrants into our country, allowing them to come in, only helps our GDP. By the way, it's a myth that they come over here just to live off of our system. Most of the welfare programs, you have to be here for 5 years before you can even access them. And if you look at the numbers, GDP goes up with immigrants. Also looking at crime, because the right has concerns about that. Looking at crime, people in America who are born on foreign soil have fewer crimes per person than people born on American soil. So that's not a reason either. So we need to make the country stronger than ever.
Thank you.
Hi, pleasure to meet you with a Veteran Liberty Network. With what he said about child sex trafficking, we actually see with the Department of Justice and Health and Human Service numbers that 88% of children found in sex trafficking are coming out of the foster system. Now the court that's putting kids in the foster system is the family court.
Right.
What would your efforts be in reforming this? Because there's no oversight at all.
Again, crime is a local issue. Assault, robbery, burglary, or even child molestation. That's a local issue. And what I would say is, if the federal government could do such a good job, if the FBI could do such a good job, why haven't they stopped it?
Yes.
I mean, I don't want to see the money go into a system that doesn't work. And I need to look this up because I just quickly read an article about this guy, a journalist who doing his work. He and he's one of these quantets, crunches numbers, and he crunched numbers, and he figured out that in Indiana, in a town in Indiana, it looked like there was a serial killer on the loose. He notified the police, one of the police officers. They did nothing. So then he notified the police chief, who did nothing. And then a few years later, they realized, oh, you know what? We have a serial killer. So they contacted him and asked him for his help. So he has started an organization, and it's called MAP, and I need to look up what it stands for. But he's gone into, he's created an organization, for instance, with a former FBI official, FBI agent, who says, we've got so much more latitude here. There's so much bureaucracy in the FBI. We never got anything done. We're able to really get out there and make a difference and run these statistics and help. Basically, they're like a consulting team for the local police. Again, I think that the free market can do anything better than the government, and that's just one more example.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, let me go. You. Okay, wait. Did you want to ask me a question? Okay, you're all first timers. Okay.
Maine is going to use ranked choice voting for the first time in
Yes.
the election cycle. How is your feeling about that, and what is the Libertarian Party feeling about it? If we're doing anything to try to bring that to more states, if there's an effort we can do at our own.
Ranked choice voting is awesome because it gets rid of the wasted vote argument. Although I'd like to address that too at some point. But it's surprising how little choice the candidate has when it comes to where you go and what you do. And not that I don't love everybody in New York, but I told my campaign team we have to go to Maine because they've got ranked choice voting. They were very good to Gary Johnson, and now that they've got ranked choice voting, and our tour bus was just recently there. I went to 4 different cities in Maine, even though it's a small state, we're small people, because we've got to make a difference. So I hope we get somewhere. We'll see. Thanks. Okay, you were next, I think. Yes.
I think a lot of people believe that values government the past few years, a lot of very
A little louder.
very right-wing people, like you're doing shut up, all those people joined libertarians, which made it less palatable for the average New Yorker. What is your party doing to
I'm sorry to address. What about Republicans?
like a lot of the right-wing people, like right-wing that joined the Libertarian Party? Because everything you've said is very progressive so far. It's like that doesn't go well with the image I have of libertarian. So what are you guys doing?
Well, we're just trying to get the word out there. Oh, and by the way, let me mention, I was told I only have 3 more questions, so you two will be the last, okay, to let everybody else know ahead of time. We're just trying to get the word out there with social media, and I think we are getting somewhere because from the very beginning, 75% of our volunteers are from outside the party. We're just hearing people saying, we don't like the 2 choices, we want another choice. So, yes. Wait, Jess, can you go because it's hard with the mask. If you could translate that. Okay, in lieu of taxation, basically, how do I run the government? Is that your question?
Yes.
Okay, so how do I run the government without taxation? First of all, the income tax only brings in half of our revenues. And I suggest that even if our money, or even if our coffers were flowing with money and we had plenty of money, we should still cut taxes because government is too big. We don't need the Department of Education because education is a local issue. We don't need the CIA doing whatever it is they're doing. We don't need the government getting into every area of their lives. And we've seen how they've messed up retirement, they've messed up Social Security, they've messed up education, they've messed up everything. So we need to cut back services. The first place I would cut it is the military. Again, in order to defend ourselves, we could cut $700 billion easily. We'd still be tied for the highest, for spending the most on military in the entire world, even if we cut $700 billion. I would also cut from the Department of Education because parents, teachers, and students should make local decisions. And I would cut from foreign aid because basically, there's kind of a joke. The definition of foreign aid is taking money from poor taxpayers and giving it to rich dictators. If Americans want to help other countries, help the people who are hurting other countries, they can do it on their own. And you know what? We had George Clooney was a few years ago very highly visible. I'd much rather give my money to George Clooney to help people in Sudan than the United States government. Okay, here's the last one.
I know that you want a more of a state or local role for various policies, but today and yesterday, Governor Cuomo shut down parts of the Jewish community in light of COVID-19 rates right during the Jewish holiday. Do you have any comments? And perhaps a federal one.
Yeah, here's why I don't want the federal government to get involved because anytime they do, there's a price to pay. Anytime you do, they have some kind of regulations. Like, for instance, in education, for every dollar you send to the Department of Education, you only get 11 cents back. Also, if you look at the highway department, before Elizabeth Dole became the transportation director, we had different states with different drinking ages. And then basically what she did was she took in everybody's highway funds from taxpayers around the world, and she held those dollars hostage and said, you're not getting your money back, your own money, you're not getting your own money back until you raise the drinking age. And that's why we all have 21 age drinking age around the country. Now, we can have an argument about is 21 a better age? Maybe it is, but it shouldn't be the federal government deciding it. And so if you talk about COVID, you know what? People are leaving New York. I keep seeing it on the news. People are leaving California. You can send a message, and that's what we do with libertarians. We say instead of all of us voting on a one-size-fits-all that doesn't work, vote with our feet, vote with our dollars. I would suggest people vote with their feet, and if they don't like what they're getting locally, then they can move to a place who welcomes them and treats them with the dignity and respect they deserve. And that's why we've had such migration to California. So thank you so much for that.
Thank Joe. Thank you very much for coming to New York. We're so pleased. Joe's going to do just a few tweets for about 20 minutes, then get split. But so please line up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, please, we're doing selfies only. Yeah, it takes a lot more time to have phones back and forth, so selfies only and have them ready. Otherwise, because we've had to leave places before.
Thanks.
Good to meet you. Oh, wait.
Sorry, we're all right, guys. Let's while you're waiting to take yourself down here. Who here loves Joe? Right? All right. Well, there is a fundraiser tonight in Queens that Joe is going to be at. There are 4 tickets remaining. In order to get one of those tickets, you better go to Joe's Facebook page, look at events, and look at the event right on that event. Hey, Elijah, how much are the tickets? I have no idea. $25. There you go. Another free Yes.
My feet's still going. So, start streaming.
So, now who wants to see Joe in the White House? Yeah, right. Okay. So, Ken Roman is the vice chair. Jo Jorgensen, the good Joe, the better Joe. All right. So, I'm not going to give you the long story. All we
Yeah,
need to do
yeah, once you have
is
this,
people to vote
let
for
me
it. So,
turn.
if you know somebody that's connected to the campaign, like a Don, raise your hand.
You guys want to
Oh, raise your hand.
Yeah,
Let me go to somebody's phone
The
that's right
campaign
there.
manager for Jo Jorgensen in the state of New
yeah,
York. Okay? Tom Pink. Come talk to one of these guys, see how you can help her get to the White House. Yes, literature that we need to
Joe, can we get the Joe?
ask people to vote for Joe.
Stand right there.
Ask.
I don't know. I'm right-handed. I'm right-handed. You guys messed me all up. Get over there. There we go.
I don't recognize you.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Pleasure meeting you.
Silver Larry's.
Very nice to meet you.
Steve, is that campaign?
Yeah. Excuse me. Yep.
I don't know what the next one is.
I'm gonna go over here.
Well, I'll be around at some point.
Excuse me. I want to see if you had a moment for a couple questions. I'm Cash Jackson. I'm with the Veteran Liberty Network, and so we're kind of reporting on veterans issues, and some of those issues that are important to us is that of, defending the Constitution. And I heard your question over there where you asked Joe about. Could you maybe just rephrase your questions? Because a lot of my viewers didn't hear, and they wanted to know what you're asking.
Oh, sure. Well, Governor Cuomo and the city have basically put on lockdown various zip codes belonging to the Hasidic Jewish community around the state in Brooklyn. And I was wondering if she would support a federal role to step in to safeguard religious liberties in the face of state interference.
So you're asking, would Jo Jorgensen implement any sort of maybe executive order or federal
Well, the
legislation?
Department of Justice can, pursue civil rights lawsuits against the states.
Absolutely.
Violate federal rights.
So do you think that that her answer, I guess, was acceptable to what it is that you were looking for? Did you feel that there was enough teeth to what she said about protecting the communities?
Well, I'm still. I think she's not going to end the Department of Justice right away, so I think the Jorgensen administration would step in. But she seems to be more to take a principled position that the federal government's not going to intervene in most COVID-19 decisions, at least state and local decisions, primarily to safeguard the liberties of most of the rest of the country.
Right.
So it is a little sad to be kind of left in the lurch, but that's how we are in New York State.
What do you think that? So again, coming from a veteran perspective, and that veterans defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and I mean, I can interject my anecdotal opinion here as a veteran and say that I believe it's unconstitutional to attack, your religious freedom, even using COVID as the implementation or reasoning for that. So, do you think that she has an obligation, from an oath to her office, to defend the Constitution, to step in?
I mean, I definitely think that there are constitutional violations at play, but ultimately, I don't think that there is an affirmative duty on government to step in, or at least the federal government to step in, although I agree. Because if there were some kind of affirmative duty, that would apply to a lot of different interpretations of the Constitution. And I think would overall be more of a threat to liberty than
Okay. Well, yeah, I do appreciate your time today. Thanks for answering a couple questions.
Pleasure.
Appreciate you, bud. What's up, bud? Do I know you?
Yeah, New Orleans. Well, yeah. You were the governor.
That's right. That's right. The mask. Yeah. So you're in New York?
Yeah.
Okay. You right here in the city, or are you outside? Rocks. Okay. In fact, that's where we came from.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
How long have you been?
I've been up here for probably about 2 weeks.
Okay. Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So me and a couple other guys over here. They're over there right now. Little guy Anthony. He's over in the Bronx, and then big guy Frank over here. He's a little, I think, further west. I don't remember what suburb or whatever he's in. So, all right, you running for office again, or?
Not yet. Getting a couple of things together, and then I'm planning maybe a year or two. 2 years.
Okay. Okay, well, we're working on media, man. So, we kind of felt like we weren't getting what was good, from the news, and so we're traveling to events and hoping to expand more of the libertarian message and let people see that there's not just two parties out there, that there is actually other parties that are running that have well qualified candidates, are intelligent, well spoken, have some good policy positions, and I was hoping the turnout would be a little bit bigger.
Right, yeah. It's just things is crazy right now in New York. So
New York
even when
is.
people want to get out, people like, transportation, trains,
Right.
yeah.
Well, I would imagine too that it's pretty challenging simply because of all of the different COVID measures that are different from city to city, state to state. It's got to be hard as a national campaign to prepare for each one. So you have to ask yourself, well, can we meet indoors? Can we meet outdoors? How many people can we have together?
And here in New York, it just keeps changing.
Changing.
So like we supposed to have our state committee organized.
You mind if I?
Oh yeah. Do you want me? Well,
It's up to you. Yeah, I don't. I'm kind of a constitutional guy, and I don't know. I don't wear it. I don't really care who does.
Yeah, we were supposed to have our state organizing meeting, and they changed. So we had a hotel booked and everything, and then they said, "Oh well, Cuomo's rules. We're not sure. We're scared." And the hotel actually shut down the event for us.
Wow.
So we had to go virtual.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy. And like a week before they did this, so it's like thing after thing. There's obstacles just keep popping up. And even just the fact that what they're doing in New York now, just to keep ballot access, they switched up the rules.
They changed ballot access rules for third parties and independents.
Yeah. And Cuomo did it using his emergency powers.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a story worth telling. So he exercised his emergency powers to change ballot access laws for wow.
Yeah.
Okay, you got some point of reference I can go to? Go find that.
Gotham Gazette. Yeah, Gotham Gazette did an article on the day.
Gotham Gazette.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. Well, cool, man. Hey, I appreciate talking to you. I'm gonna go over and catch up with these guys. It's good seeing you again, man. Tell me your name.
Aaron.
Aaron.
Yeah, Aaron Coleman.
Is it AA?
Yeah.
Owen?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right, bud. Good
right.
talking to you, man. How you doing, brother? Hi. We did. I had a quick question that I wanted to ask you, but
Okay, if you're really the media, I'll answer.
I am the media. So we are Veteran Liberty Network. So we're kind of up and coming third, independent media group, and just had a quick question when you brought up, treating veterans. So one of the most important issues that have been a hot button issue for Republicans and Democrats is that of the veteran suicide rate, which they don't seem to have an answer for. And currently there's two bills that have made their way to the House and Senate, the Hannon Act and the Compact Act, and they kind of were born out of the executive order by Donald Trump to find new and innovative ways to deal with and address the veteran suicide rate. But I've read through those acts and I have yet to see anything in there that really gets to some of the heart of the issues. And I know you and I talked before.
Yeah.
And
well, let me mention, first of all, as I mentioned earlier, is we should put dollars into the hands of veterans so they can spend the money on what they want. So, and not even just this doctor versus that doctor, but maybe this doctor versus that therapist, or maybe alternative medicine. And absolutely decriminalizing marijuana should help. It's just ridiculous that they have to go to opiates, which can be very addictive, and we have our own issue with that. But of course, the biggest thing is to stop the problem at its roots. And I've talked to, well, first of all, I guess that Ron Paul in 2012 received more donations than all the other candidates put together in 2012. And when I tell that to people, they say, well, that doesn't make any sense because they're, they're in the military. Don't they want it bigger? And no, they see what goes on and that it doesn't work. And I've talked with veterans who said, I've seen things that nobody should ever see. And this is the basis of the suicide. So we need to bring the troops home. The average service member, how do you say that?
service member.
Service member, that's what I was looking for. Because I'm trying to not say service member. Because I'm older. That's
Right.
how we, it's my 1950s.
Sure.
So the average service member guarding the United States with probably not see those types of atrocities in a 2 or 4 year tour. So,
Certainly.
so how about let's get it at the root of the problem.
Right. Well, that's a great point that you said that, because there was a 2010 survey from the Veterans Administration where they talked to 14,000 homeless veterans, and overwhelmingly what they were finding with all of these homeless veterans, where there is a high suicide rate, that many of them are experiencing the trauma inside the family court system, where they're having military service used against them, and they're kept from their children, and that's exacerbating a lot of war injuries.
Right. That's yeah. And we got to start.
They don't follow the Constitution either. They laugh at you when you bring it up.
Right. Right.
So absolutely. So
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate your time
Thank you,
today.
Joe.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Great. Yeah. This is Cash. This is
What's up,
Zach.
man?
Nice to meet you, sir.
He lives,
Good to meet you, Zach.
he lives in the Bronx too. He's very interested with some of the stuff I brought up. I told him that we start our own media company
Okay.
and everything, so I got his contact.
Okay. Good. Yeah. Good. Yeah. I'm live streaming now, so we can touch base, link up with him later, whatever.
Yeah, so it's nice to meet you guys. I love what you guys are doing.
Yeah, appreciate that.
I gave him my information. I'm in the Bronx. If you guys ever need any help with anything, I'm more than willing to help you guys out.
Okay.
I'm actually going into Marine Corps myself this winter,
Okay.
so I'll be around for a couple more months. But
Okay. Good.
I'm
Well,
here.
yeah. I mean, yeah.
So I'm here for the time I'm here. I'm here for you.
Show us
guys.
on the Bronx a little bit.
So
Yeah.
imagine this. Imagine when you join the military, you take an oath on the Constitution.
Absolutely.
Even if you're not the most patriotic person, you're like, hey, this is what I have to do.
Protecting the chain, foreign and domestic.
Yeah. And
I got a lot of domestic now.
yeah. Well, actually, they're foreign too.
They
So
are.
the thing is, you get out of the military, you might have a child or whatever. You might be affected by child protective services or go through a custody battle upon divorce. And then you witness soon that the courts are not adhering to the Constitution, but you realize that every lawyer upheld an oath to the Constitution, swore an oath, and so did the judge. But then you realize that the family court is totally devoid of the Constitution. You might take it upon yourself to represent yourself, but no lawyer is going to be doing anything adequate for you or providing effective assistance. But we do see that there's massive amounts of veterans going. So it's probably more than 22 a day. We have information that 2 or 3 states were left out in the count. So imagine, and hopefully you'll never be put in this position because it'll be solved before then, hopefully. But imagine swearing out the Constitution, going to war, being blown up, you have PTSD, TBI, might loss of limb, and now you bring up the Constitution and a family court judge laughs at you. And you know, and
It's
then
not even America anymore at that point.
exactly.
Well, and that's what I want to kind of get to with Joe is that what we're not realizing is that a lot of the suicides are driven because of the sense of betrayal
Of course.
that the service member feels.
They
They
get
went
back. They don't feel like
sacrifice.
anyone cares for them or their
Right.
sacrifice. And it is a sacrifice.
Well,
They
especially
didn't
when they
have to go out there at 17 years old and
right,
get shot at it. For
right.
the Constitution, for our own people.
Well, and that's one of the more important topics that you bring up is that it is for the Constitution. So who in Iraq right now is a threat to our Constitution? The threats here are domestic, and what we're kind of pushing and advocating for is, hey, wait a second. Service members, number one, aren't taught the Constitution. There's no, they don't teach it to them,
They don't,
but they all swear an oath to it. How do they defend the Constitution
without knowing it.
without even knowing
Very
it? They
true.
don't even realize that our rights are being violated.
They come out, they get jobs with people who are anti-constitutional as well. They don't even realize it sometimes. So
Right.
I like what you guys are doing.
Well, cool, man. Hey,
Appreciate you guys.
I look forward to maybe hearing from you again in the
Appreciate
future.
your intellect too, bro.
Where we go,
Yeah.
we go all, brother. I saw your Instagram. So
Appreciate
down
you.
for that too.
Cool, brother. Have a good
Thank you guys.
Are you guys New Yorkers?
I am.
I'm an Arkansas person, so I don't wear my mask. We don't do that down there. And I wanted to ask y'all as libertarians kind of what y'all felt, about the mask order, the COVID, I just heard about from a gentleman over here about what they did for third-party ballot access in the emergency orders. Would you guys be willing to kind of speak to any of that on camera?
I don't know.
It's just a live stream. So if you don't want me to show your face, I won't show your face.
Sure, yeah, I'd rather not, but I'm happy to speak. So the idea that we kind of have is that masks are to some people important, some people don't, believe in the effects of a mask, but it should be a voluntary decision. It is perfectly okay to promote the idea of masks are good for your protection, protecting your health, but they should not be mandated by law.
Okay.
And so if there are 2 grocery stores, and Jim's grocery store and Bob's grocery store, and Jim makes me wear a mask and Bob doesn't,
I will go to the one that I feel comfortable with. So let the market decide. Let the people decide for themselves and make decisions for themselves instead of forcing people into this restrictive cycle of listening to everything the government says and controlling our lives.
Well, it kind of sounds like a more common sense approach that doesn't seem to be too common these days.
Absolutely. Common sense is not common anymore. It's something that is becoming more and more rare. And in New York, that's something that has been a trend. Is common sense is on the decline. And with the government that we have, with Mayor de Blasio here in New York City and Governor Andrew Cuomo, we have a lot of common sense regulations pretty much disappearing in favor of them telling us exactly what to do. And it's frankly turning into a dictatorship.
Dictatorship. And one last question. So it's a relatively small turnout here, and of course, COVID has a lot to do with that, and probably the implementation of those COVID measures maybe can't get indoors together. What do you think, though, that of course third parties they struggle, libertarians they struggle. What do you think the Libertarian Party can do better to get themselves onto a larger stage, recognizing they have challenges with ballot access, that the entities that are responsible for the debates are former Republicans and Democrats? How does Jo Jorgensen grow this party as a candidate and get the Libertarian candidates into these televised debates?
So this is a unique year and a unique election because everything right now is really the digital age times two. And so a lot of it has taken the form of online campaigning. So this event has a turnout of, I want to say about 50 or 60 people, but this is going to be live streamed on the internet, and we are going to play that and share that video over and over again, as we do with all of our events. So hopefully more and more people will see it like that. And a lot of people who are supporting Jo Jorgensen in this election are people who would otherwise be voting Republican or Democrat. They're registered as Republican or Democrat. So we are seeing a lot of growth of people who are disenfranchised with the two major parties. And they're coming in and we're encouraging them to vote Libertarian and vote for Jo Jorgensen so that we can get ballot access back here in New York. Well, we do have it now, so we can continue having it. And try.
That was thanks to Larry Sharpe, 2018, right?
Absolutely,
okay.
Larry Sharpe in 2018. And we'll see what happens in the following elections as well. But ballot access is crucial to that. And once we are on the ballot, we are legit, and not running a write-in campaign. So by getting ballot access, we are showing people that we are a serious party, and we are the party of principle. We are, running candidates who actually are there to, for the people and not for the corporations or for the government.
Thank you for your time, man. I appreciate that. Thanks a lot. All right, so I'll take a minute. I'll come over here. Sit here, please. Look at this. Look. You think are they required to put these down here?
Yeah.
They're legislated, pass an executive order or something. You can only sit. I mean, this is the nanny state at work right here.
Yeah.
Veteran Liberty Network. So yeah, we're an up and coming media group. We're founded by veterans, and we're trying to give more. I call it grunge style reporting. That we're just down on the streets. We're talking to people. There's no filter here. I'm not here to shape a narrative. I'm here to just find out from people what concerns they have and how they feel that our country's doing by them. Just as an average citizen. And so we're kind of a new style reporting service for independents, third parties, more of a liberty perspective of. I was the governor candidate in Illinois in 2018. So I'm very much libertarian minded, and I wish we had a much larger turnout over here, but I understand, that, and what was your name? I'm sorry, I didn't.
My name's Rebecca.
Rebecca, are you part of the state party here? Okay. Thank you. Awesome. Okay. When's your guys' next monthly meeting, or is this it?
We on Zoom, so
Okay.
it'll be in second Tuesday, October.
Okay. Now, is that a state requirement, or is that just a decision you guys made for the safety of your members?
So, well, we actually, because they had indoor restaurants were closed.
Right.
So they just now opened the door because actually we were meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, we were meeting inside a restaurant, not too far from here.
Okay.
And they just opened it up. So, but we don't know if what conditions the restaurant itself is dealing with.
Certainly.
So we got to reach back out to
Reach
them,
back.
I guess.
Okay. And what's a normal size meeting for you guys?
Probably like 15 people.
Okay. Okay. Well, maybe the next time I'm around, if you shoot me an invite, I'd love to come down and attend. And you know,
You live in New York?
I don't. No, I'm up here. I'm spending a lot of time between New York and DC. So I've been up on Long Island for the last couple of weeks, covering some events in that region, interviewing candidates, things like that, Republican. I want to go interview some Democratic candidates and kind of find out some of their policy positions and why, and ask them the liberty-oriented questions that they don't typically get. So.
All right. Well, you know what we had? I don't think you were here yet, but we have a local candidate here. His name's Michael Madrid.
Michael what?
Michael Madrid.
Madrid. Okay, I know that. I
He
recognize
was
the name.
here. He was like the first person that spoke, but I don't think we were here yet.
Okay, and so what's he running for?
Congress, District 10, West Side Manhattan.
West Side of Manhattan. Okay, Michael Madrid.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll look into him. He doesn't have any contacts here, does he?
I'm sure he's here.
Yeah.
Michael! Come here.
Oh, okay. Well, he was talking to somebody. Okay.
Yes.
You want to answer a few questions?
Oh,
You got time?
sorry, it's no time. I have a appointment in the Senate. Yes, please go ahead.
How are you doing? I'll do a fist bump if you want.
Yep.
Cash Jackson with Veteran Liberty Network, and we're just out here today, kind of finding about the libertarian perspective, informing our viewership more about the liberty message that
Yes.
isn't really getting out as much as what I think that it should.
Yep.
And so we're kind of just an independent media group, up and coming,
Uh-huh.
and wanted to just maybe hear from you some of your policy perspective on a couple of core issues here. And you're running for Congress, right?
Yes.
In what district?
Right here, New York 10.
Can I
Where
come
we're
over here and
standing.
can I stand within a few feet of you with this
Yeah, let's,
reach rod? And
Yeah.
because I'm live right now, so
Yep.
okay, let's do it like this.
Uh-huh.
So you're running for Congress where?
Right here.
Right here. And
Right here. NY10 against Gerald Nadler.
okay, what's your elevator pitch? What's your
Well, I'd like to simplify government. We just have way too many laws affecting way too many things. You know, we put people in prison for no reason.
Okay.
We are, prosecuting foreign wars where we don't have any real idea what we're doing. We don't have an exit strategy. We have
I agree.
a lot more military spending than we need. We do need a military. We do need to be able to protect ourselves. But do we need to spend more than most of the rest of the world? Probably not. Occupational licensing, another area where we tell people, people of talent, people who know what they can do, that, oh, you have to have this license to do something. African hair braiding is one great
Right.
thing. You have to have a cosmetology license to practice African hair braiding. What does makeup have to do with hair braiding?
Right.
Nothing. So why do we put these people in these boxes? People are smart enough to figure these things out without the government. How much law do we need? We probably need some. There's so many layers that, before we even get to anything controversial, let's just remove all these things which are not controversial, get rid of them, see where we're at, and then we can think about other things. But, the war on drugs, all the foreign wars, occupational licensing. I'll mention the Jones Act. A lot of people don't know that, but that's a shipping law, which basically cartelizes U.S. shipping and makes shipping very expensive.
Right. That's a very important act that, I've only heard it brought up maybe once or twice.
Yes, well,
Yeah.
I've done videos. You can go to my site, Madrid4.nyc. It has a very, very entertaining video, only 5 minutes, but on the 10 most wonderful things about the Jones Act. I'll just bring up one, because this is very entertaining. It's incredible. But New England, you cannot get natural gas to New England very easily because you don't allow pipelines to be built anymore.
Right.
So it has to be shipped. Now,
Okay.
you would think that you could just ship this maybe from the Gulf of Mexico, where we produce a lot of natural gas, or maybe from Maryland, or I think they feed it from, I'm not sure exactly, or maybe Pennsylvania. I just ship it up a few 100 miles to New England, right?
Right.
You would think.
You think.
But you cannot do that because any shipping between two U.S. ports has to be on a ship, U.S. flagged, U.S. owned, U.S. crewed, and the kicker, the ship has to have been built in the United States.
Wow. Okay.
Now, how many LNG, liquid natural gas carriers, do you think have been built in the United States?
Great question. I have no idea.
Okay. Well, it's a very simple number, the simplest of numbers, and that is zero.
Zero. I
Zero.
figured that's what you were going to say.
So you cannot actually do any shipping of natural gas in the U.S. between two U.S. ports. So what happens is natural gas gets shipped from Russia, thousands of miles away, for $9 per whatever the unit is, it's million BTU or whatever.
Wow.
$9 goes to New England.
Okay.
From New England down to Maryland, the ship will go empty because you cannot ship between those two ports on a non-U.S. ship. Down in Maryland or wherever it is, they will pick up natural gas for $3. So they just sold it for $9 in New England. They buy it for $3, good U.S. natural gas for $3, and then they ship that to Pakistan.
Wow.
Wow. So environmentally, this is a huge waste. Economically, it's a huge waste.
Massive waste.
Massive. And, you know, that would have been, you know, this is U.S. jobs too, because it's less U.S. natural gas being sold. So
Right.
It's just a horrible, horrible.
Well, that's a really interesting piece that,
Yep.
that a lot of people don't know about. So
Yep, they don't know.
I applaud you for kind of bringing that forward, and I'm going to do a little bit of research into it. Is it okay if I follow up with you, do some follow-up questions or
Absolutely.
interviews?
Yep.
Yeah, especially when we get into a kind of a good place. Hard out here. It's
Yeah.
windy out here.
Yeah, it's windy. I'm actually freezing.
Right?
Yeah. You seem to be fine.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, I was a drill instructor in Great Lakes, Illinois.
Oh, okay.
And so, yeah, I had to go through the blizzards and stuff with my recruits, and
Okay.
I
Well,
functioned pretty well.
Let me just say that I'm very glad I was not a recruit of yours in Illinois. I would not have made it through.
Wouldn't have made it through.
Maybe I would have had to bulk up a little.
Right. Well, I appreciate your time today.
Yes.
You want to tell people where they can find you in your
Yes,
campaign?
I am at madrid4.nyc. That's number 4. Please come to the site. Check me out.
Okay. Appreciate you,
Okay,
bud.
great.
Thank you.
Sorry, remind me.
Cash Jackson.
Cass Jackson.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Cass.
Good talking with you.
Yep. Take care.
Yeah, so pretty crazy stuff here. What the hell is this? This is some crazy communist shit if I've ever seen it. I mean, unbelievable that the government feels that they have to do this. Are these free for the taking? We're going to take a couple with us. So we're in the Big Apple, New York City. Man, there's Big Frank.
Hey,
You guys
we
say-
traveling all over, getting the news for you.
Where are we going to next?
I think we're gonna go hang out with Larry Sharp over in Queens.
Larry Sharp in Queens. Larry, you guys let Larry know Cash Jackson is going to come see him.
You know, we spent some time with the Republicans. Now we're spending some time with the Libertarians. We'd love to have a couple Democrats to have a little chat with us as well.
Yep. If you guys got contacts with some Democratic candidates, we'd like to. There's Tony.
How's it going?
We'd love to come interview some Democratic candidates. Maybe we can get AOC up
Yes.
there. And who's that guy running against? What's his
There's
name?
Cummings and Antoine Tucker.
Cummings is running against.
And Antoine Tucker, former felon, he's a really good dude. Smokes weed on podcasts and has a large following. Speaks about real good issues.
Okay.
Very nice. Let's set that
Antoine
one up.
Tucker, prior criminal, smokes weed, and okay, sounds like my kind of guy.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. All right. Well, we're going to sign off of here then. We're going to make our way back to our van. And we'll probably see you guys a little bit later. This is Cash Jackson. Frank, tell them who you are.
Frank Hand here.
Frank Hand. And who?
Anthony Sabelli.
Sabelli with Veteran Liberty Network. We're out of here.